Yes, this is a 2008 Honda Accord 3.5 liter V6. I'm doing the valve covers on this one today. First, you got to take off this cover. It's like two flat things right here. Just open them up, and you lift this cover straight out. Now, when you do that, we're going to start taking off these clips. These clips, all you got to do is push this tab, and you hear that click and you pull them off. You're doing all three of these. When you take that off, these here also have the same type of clip. You push them in, then you take them off. There's two of them. One is on this side. And then next to these little clamps, it's a little stuff right here. We're going to lift them up off this rail. It's two of them, one of them here. Also, down here, there's two more connectors to this that you're going to have to take out. And there's a push-in that goes in the side of this clamp right here. Just pull it out right here. Just pull it out. Also, you have two connectors down below right here that goes to this harness. We're going to unplug those. So go ahead and unplug those, and I'll be right back. Also, there is on this same harness, you got one going to the alternator right here. It's a 13 millimeter nut. You have to take that off. And when you take it off, you just bring this up. Also, right here, it's a 10 millimeter nut that you're gonna have to get up to move that harness. It's sitting right here. It's 10 millimeters. You have to take that 10 millimeter bow tie also. Now you should have the 10 for the alternator, these two right here unplugged, these two at the bottom unplugged, and you see these, you get you a flat screwdriver and you just pry this back a little bit and that comes up. Same thing on this end. So far, so good. The last 2 weeks in particular. Last week was his best game in terms of efficiency, nearly 80% of his. See that? So now we can move this out of the way. What I'm gonna do, I will put it right here, out of the way. That's not gonna be in the way of replacing the cores or the valve cover gasket. I still could take stuff apart. Okay, so you don't have to, if you want to, you can unplug that, but you don't have to. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out these coils. It's 4 of them. I mean 3 of them, my bad. 3 in the back front, 3 in the back. We're gonna go ahead and take those 3 coils out. They're 10 millimeters. We're gonna pull them up. What we're gonna have to do is take this clamp off. This clamp right here. Get your pliers, and you can take that clamp off and just hold it. Just hold it and leave it on here. So go ahead and take out the 3 ignition coils. Okay. Now we're gonna take off all these bolts. They are 10 millimeters. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bolts and 2 nuts that goes here. Take that out. Take them out. And you might gotta use a screwdriver to pry this up so it can be loose and take this off. Alright? it's a gasket right here also. So if you want to get this gasket, if it's leaking, you can replace this gasket. See that? But I don't see no leak around it, so I'm gonna put it back on. Okay, now we on the other side over here by the throttle body. It's a clamp right here. This clamp, I'm gonna take it off of here. I'm not gonna disconnect all this. So right here, you take the pliers and you hit that clamp and you push this off of this. Also right here, this is bolted up to the housing. It's two 10mm bolts. Okay? I'm gonna take those off, and then I'm gonna take those off. Also, it's a little clip right here, connector. Press that down. Also, this hose here is a clamp on this hose. You have to take a pliers and take this off and remove it also. Right here. See that? Now you can push this on the side over here out of the way. Because another harness and stuff back here that we're gonna have to take off also to push back in the back, and this is connected to it. Okay? We're gonna take this out. This connector right here. So if you push this down, you should be able to pull that off just like that. And it goes into the housing right here. I'm trying not to take the throttle body off. I'm just gonna take these hoses, this line off of here, and then when I'm taking this off, I might be able to take the throttle body off with it and just put it on the side. That's my plan. Okay? So you unplug that also from this throttle body. And it's another plug right here that goes to the throttle body also. You can go ahead and unplug that part. Yeah, it's in the back right here. Let's go ahead and unplug it. That's that. Okay? Okay. The way I'll be doing it is take this out. It's a 10mm. It's a 10mm. Take that out. And also, the clamp that goes here is this clamp right here in the hole. It goes here. Take that off. Also, you take that off right here. See this? You take that off the clamp, pull all that out. Pull all it out. And when you take this up, you will have two hoses. This is one of them. This is one of the hoses right here. This hose goes to this line that's connected right here. See that? It's a line that connects right here. See that? See that? Right here. It goes to this line right here from the throttle body. That's your antifreeze line. So just be careful. It's a clamp right here. You clamp it and you take it out. There are also another one right below it. Take that off also from the throttle body, because I'm gonna leave the throttle body with the housing, so I won't have to take it out. Okay, so go ahead and do that. There's another one down here on the throttle body. This one, see right here, this hose is connected to right here. So that's gonna come off when you take this up. And then when you do that, it's got one more that's connected to this. One more that's connected to that. And here we go. It's sitting right here. Right here. See that? It's a clamp on that. You're going to take that off also. What I do when I take these off, I get a little screw and I just put it in the hole so it won't leak. You just find you a screw and put it in that hole, and you won't leak antifreeze on the ground or none of that. Okay, so go ahead and take those apart. So when you get that last one off, right here, this whole piece comes out. See that? It comes out. So go ahead and take that apart. Put that on the side. Now you see, we got all that disconnected. Don't forget to take that one off down here to the throttle body. But when we loosen these other bolts, this whole thing is gonna come up. Okay? Okay, while we on this side, disconnector, disconnector, and disconnector. And it's got another one that goes right here. You don't have to take it out because this whole thing will move with home. These three connectors gotta be loose. They gotta come out. So you push the connector in and you take it out. You do that for all three of those connectors. Okay. Right here. Let me see if you can see. Right here. It's a 10mm bolt. That gotta come out. It's a ground. Also for this harness loom, it's a 10mm bolt here. This bracket to hold this power steering line, it's a 10mm bolt there. Take them out. It's another one back here. That's going to the harness. Take that bolt out. Then what you're gonna do is look in the back, and you got your coils. Just like we took the coils off the front, we're gonna take those off the back also. So what you need to do is push that, snap it in, disconnect them, and use a 10mm, and take the coils out in the back side. Back here, it's a bracket. That's bolted onto the valve cover. Right here, two bolts. Right here, bracket. You have to below that bracket. There's two connectors that you're gonna have to take. Okay, so remove that bracket. This is the bracket. It was back there like this. Two bolts right there. Take those bolts out and put the bolts with that bracket. Same place. That goes back on the back of the valve cover. Now this whole harness will come out. But if you look back here, see these two plugs right here? Right here. You'll have to replace it. I'm gonna try to look at this valve and we'll try to put them on the plugs. Right here. These two plugs right here. That's connected to this harness box on the plug. And then when you do that whole harness, you can move that back out of the way. Right here, this little clip right here. This hose, this harness was on top of this. It's a clip inside of here. You pull it towards you and you push this off, and the harness will come off. Okay? Okay. Now we're gonna take the bolts out from inside of here. It's got 4 10mm inside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't take these out. Don't take this out. Don't take this out. They got 4 10mm inside here. Loosen those up. Also, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of these bolts. It's 12mm. Take all those out. Don't take this up here out, this bolt, this 10, and this 10. That don't come out. Okay? Now you also have 2 nuts inside. One is here, and one is here on this other side. Take those out.
And there's the GMC Sierra, available with the connected driving experience.
And when you take those out, this whole unit should be able to come up.
It's the truck.
Right here, see that? The whole unit. And nothing is connected to it. That's why I took all those stuff off. What I did, I never took the screws out. I left them in that panel. So I'll know where everything goes back to. We're about to take this valve cover out. I could have go ahead and take all this off, the brackets, but I'm not. Just like it's a bracket in the front right here, but I'm not. If you want to take the spark plugs out, you can take the spark plugs out if you want to change the spark plugs. Okay, now we're about to take out, it's got 5 10mm bolts that holds one here, and up here. These 2 is short.
That's what the world's biggest airline can do.
See that? They're the shorter ones. Remember where those go. The other ones is the long ones. Those go on this corner and the 2 in the front. These 2 right here is short. So remember where they go. Okay? So now we're about ready to take out the valve cover. If it's hard to take it out, just get you a flathead screwdriver. And right here, just pry the pan up until it's getting loose. Be careful. And then the harness is loose. You just pull it forward like right here. And then you go ahead and you take the valve cover out. That's the front valve cover. You don't have to take out the spark plugs. But I will be replacing these grommets right here. The one that's on the 5 bolts on the outside. And I'm also going to replace these on the inside. All 6 of those. 3 in here and 3 in the back. So now what we're going to do, you see in these grooves, we're going to try to clean this out with some brake part cleaner and make sure this is pretty clean right here. And then we're going to put the valve cover gasket in and put the valve cover back in. So go ahead and, you see mine stayed right here. See that? Mine wasn't in the pan. This is my gasket. See that? It stayed on the thing. So I got to take it off, clean around here pretty good. Brake part cleaner and a little sandpaper and get it smooth and spray in here and get it real good so the new gasket will go in here, will sit good. So you go ahead and you do that and we'll come back to put it in. Yeah, okay. Now you could go ahead and take off the second valve cover. I'm going to do both of them at the same time. I wasn't going to, but I will. You see right here? It's a gasket right here. You don't want to mess that gasket up either. Also, what you can do is cover this up with something so nothing will fall inside the engine. And then you have problems. You could also cover this up too in the back. But I know there ain't nothing going to fall in there, but you never know. You know? So be careful. But take these out. These 3 bolts in the front is short. The 2 in the back is the longer bolts. And like I tell you, get your pry ball and come right here under the valve cover and hit it and let it comes up. And now the valve cover is ready to come out. All you gotta do is just harness. You're gonna have to hold it up with one hand and move it out the way, but the valve cover, let me see, it's kind of on the other side. Sticking pretty hard, so you just gotta get it up and then take it out. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna move this on the side a little bit, and then the valve cover will be able to come out. I don't think I need it off, but push come to shove, I might take it off, but I don't think I need it off, this bar, but if I do, I'll take it off. Okay, I tied it up. Let's see if we can get this out of here. See, it's kind of hitting right here at the bottom, but it's gonna come out. Yeah. See that? I just turned it sideways. Oh, you know what the problem is? When I took out the bracket, I put this screw back in. This screw is catching on the horn. This horn. See that? It comes straight out. So that was on me. I pulled this bolt out and I put it back in here, and it was catching on the horn that's coming out. So now the back valve cover is also off. So you could do both of them at the same time. And here go the gasket right here. Just take that gasket up because it stayed in the car. That's this gasket. Alright. So you go ahead and you clean up both valve cover heads, and then you come back and you clean up the valve cover also, and then we're about to put them in after that. So go ahead and do that. I'm gonna do both at the same time. Okay, now you should be done cleaning up everything. What I do, I put some Permatex, some silicone, You see this corner? You put some in that corner, and I also put some in that corner. You don't have to put it on this side. You're gonna also got to put it on the corner on the back side. That's just so that, most of the time, I don't know why it leaks right there. That's the first place that leaks on these gaskets. So you put it there. Be careful when you're putting it in. You see how this is lift up. Make sure it's down before you put it in there, or when you're putting it in, make sure it's sitting flat. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put our valve cover back on, and then put those 5 bolts back in. But I'll tell you where the long one go again. Okay, so now valve cover should be on. Tighten those bolts up. There's 5 of them. Remember, the 2 short ones goes here, the long one, and the long one. Okay? The snuggle. Snuggle. Go crisscross. We have to stop Josh Jacobs. We know that Jordan Love came up limp. We know they're going to try to run the ball. And then you tighten them. You got to tighten them real tight. You don't feel it. Otherwise, you could break them. You don't want to break them. That's the highest in any game. He did that in these conditions wearing gloves, playing in an outdoor game for the first time all year. Absolutely. So the valve cover is now back on. The front valve cover. Now, if you took this little bracket off that goes here, go ahead and put it back in. It goes this way. I took it off, but you didn't have to. You just know going to the game, Ben Johnson was thinking about protecting Goff, getting him off to a fast start. By not so go ahead and put them back in. That's 2 10-millimeter bolts. So even that pass we just saw a second ago to St. Brown is part of managing the game. How do we take some and mitigate some risk and tighten up those 10-millimeter bolts? Then we're going to put on the back one. We're going to go ahead and put everything back in the front because we don't have to leave this off. It won't affect us putting this back up. So we're going to go ahead and put those coils back in that you took out. Just put them back in. Just push them in. Make sure they're all the way down. We're talking to Ben Johnson. So the one thing I don't want to beat today is one dimension. And then after you do that, put those nuts back on them. 10-millimeter. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously playing with the lead. Put the 10-millimeter nuts back on it. A number of different ways. You want to stay on top and you tighten them up. No penalties. They've done a very good job of that offensively. Okay. They're making tighten them up. Tremendously pushing that defense into their own line of scrimmage and gaining. Tighten them back up. Okay, there you go. Okay, that was a tight. Now what we're gonna do is, you remember we had this that we pull off the alternator. You put that back on it, and we're gonna put that nut back on it. So just go ahead and push that back on there, and then we're gonna come with that nut right here and start it by hand, or you can put the socket over it. You took it off with, I think that was a 13 with an extension, and put it over the bolt, and then you can start on the screw. See that? And that is going down. Just snug it a little bit. Tighten it, and then put that rubber. It's a rubber boot. Put it back over it. All right. Okay, that's the alternator power. Now you see this? You remember the stuff we took out of here? We're gonna put them back over it. Just put that back in there. They slip. See this? They slip back in there, and they snaps. See that? Connect back the coils. Put that back on there. Put that back on there. Put that back on there. Also, go ahead and put those two connectors on this side. Plug that back in. It's two different ones, so you can't mess up. Put those back in also. Also, these here, plug them back in also. These two. Okay? And don't forget, we took a bolt from here. Remember that? That 10mm bolt, put it back in right here on the side. That's a 10mm. Tighten that 10 back. So everything is back in the front. The front is done. Valve cover, coils, everything is back in. We don't have to deal with that anymore. Okay? Next we're gonna deal with the back valve cover and put that on.
Just because the mechanic called me ma'am.
Okay, now we're about to put the back valve cover back in. I already put mine in. You can pick it up right here and put it in just like this, sideways. The 3 short bolts goes in the front, and the 2 long bolts goes in the back.
Welcome to Sapphire
So you can go ahead and tighten up those bolts.
This is more than a place to
on your valve cover.
Getaway. It's a main course before the main event. It's a real reason to arrive early. This is what an airport lounge is supposed to be. Chase Sapphire Reserve.
And then when you tighten those bolts, I'm going to take this back down and we're going to start connecting the back. Alright, so go ahead and tighten up those 5 bolts, and then we'll start putting back the stuff back where it needs to go. You can go ahead and cut that strap, because to get the bolts back here, you have to go right here. So you can cut the strap so you can get to those bolts in the back. Alright, so go ahead and tighten those 5 bolts, and we'll put the rest stuff back together. Remember, we took that 10mm bolt out of here. We got to put that back in. And also, it's another one that goes right here. Right here. So put those 10mm bolts back in. And also, if you took the bracket out that was in here, we're about to put it back in. It goes to the back with 2, see that bolt? See that bolt? We're going to put that bracket back also. So go ahead and put those 2 10mm bolt back in the harness, and then put the bracket back in the back. And then we're about to put the ignition coils back in also. we're about to put these ignition coils back in, all three of them. You push them back in, and you have a 10mm bolt on top. You do that. So go ahead, put that bracket in, put your coils back in, and then put the 10mm nuts and one bolt back in to hold the coils. All right. Okay. Now you see these two. You need to plug them back in these two spots right here. Plug them in. Then put your coils in. Put your coils in. Put your coils in. Put your coils in, and put the 10mm nut on them coils, and then you put that bracket in. That bracket goes in last because you got to snap these in. That bracket might be in your way. All right, you see that? That's in the back of the valve cover. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll be back. Okay, and don't forget, you know that harness? It's got a, remember the grind you took off? Put that back right here. It's 10mm, and also the power steering hose. It bolts back here with a bolt. Put that back in, and that should be in. This should be back on. All right. So now what we're finna do? We're finna put this back in the intake. We're finna put that back in there and get it back together and button this up. So get your intake and put it back over these. We're about to put these screws back in. Go ahead and connect back these connections right here. All three of these. Connect those back. Connect them back. We'll connect this hose and this one in a minute. But go ahead and connect those three connectors. Now you put this back on, and you see these bolts. Put them back in. I messed up. You was not supposed to take these bolts out. And also, these 10mm bolts on the inside, you wasn't supposed to take them out also. But it's okay. The only bolt you were supposed to take out was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts with the 13mm heads, and the 2 nuts with the 13mm head was the only bolt you take off to take this off. I messed up. I will put that to the beginning of the video just for the other crowd. Go ahead and tighten all those bolts. Don't forget, when you put this back on, tighten all this bolt. See this hose? Put that hose back here with the clamp. Put this hose back here with the clamp. We're going to get all this in a minute. Now get this, and you're finna put this back in. Watch that gasket. Make sure it's in there good. And just put it back in. And put your bolts in and your 2 nuts. And tighten those up. Okay, remember this? We're going to put it back on those 2 brackets. You have 2 nuts. Put them on and tighten them up. I think those are 10mm also. Put them on and tighten them 2 bolts. Also, put this back on here. Put the clamp back on it. This, connect it back down here. Put the clamp back on it. Also, plug back this in to the throttle body right here. And it's a cable. Remember that down here we took one off. Put it back on the throttle body. Not this top one. The bottom one. Go back in and put this back here. Plug it back in. This is the last stuff that's gonna go in. You're gonna put it back on this. You can loosen this if you want to. I'm not gonna loosen this box. You put it back on here. You put this back on this other side. And this right here, you see this one? It's gonna be hooked up on this cable over here. See it? That. And then this up here gonna go back into the throttle body right here. So all this is gonna go underneath it like this. Okay? And also this line, it's got one line that's sitting right here. Right here. that will go back into this. So go ahead and do that, and then that will be the end of this video. And then we're also gonna plug this back in. All right, and that's this plug. That will be the last plug that we plug in for this right here. But you can leave that for last and do all this first. Like I said, this hose is going over here. See that? This line is going to the hose that you have down here. See that? That's the last hose. And then the throttle body hose is going to go right here when you put all this on here. All right, so go ahead and do that. There are two 8mm that's hold this in. One on each corner. I went ahead and take it out to put this in because it would be easier for you to put it in that way than to have it in the car. So it's a 8mm right here, the 8mm right here. Just take them out, and then this will go in easier. Okay, now all that's back in. Connect that back. That plug in that go on top of the throttle body. Make sure you plug up the one on the side. The 8mm right here, tighten it. And this right here, it's where you put that hose on. You might gotta take it back off to put this pipe in first, because that line goes behind that hose. So you might have to just take the clamp back off, pull it up, put that on first, and put it back on. But it's nothing that big. And then don't forget to push this back in this grommet right there. And look, man, that is it. You have just replaced your 2 valve cover gaskets on your 2008 Honda Accord 3.5 liter. Don't forget, subscribe to my channel. Like I said before, I will try to put it in the beginning of the video of the bolts that I told you to take off, but you didn't have to. So I will record that and then try to put it ahead of the video before it gets started. Subscribe, leave a comment, share, send a message. But look, I'm giving you these videos for free. All you gotta do is subscribe. You don't have to pay for it. See you on the next one. DIY Mechanic. Big up to the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. Big up. Keyboard down, Dada said that.